I want to talk a bit about the current state of the Wikidata project. 1 year ago today, the first item on Wikidata was created. So this is Wikidata's first birthday. Seems like a good occasion to reflect on what we've done so far. And 1 year ago today, Danny, no, not exactly 1 year ago, but on the last SMWCon in Europe, Danny was standing here and showing you, among other things, this. This is an early mock-up of what Wikidata should have looked like. And since then, a lot has happened. This is a screenshot of what Wikidata actually looks like now. This is the item on Berlin. You can see that this is about Berlin and the description. It's the capital city and state of Germany. Wikidata knows that I also speak German, Spanish, and Latin, so it shows me the names in these languages as well and the descriptions. When you scroll down further on that page, you see some statements about Berlin. So, for example, that it's in Germany and Europe, that it is a city. Or that its local dialing code is 030. Some identifiers on various other places on the net, for example, FIAF or GND. And this is only a part of the item, right? So there's a lot more, but I wanted to only show you a part. Then you can also see things like the head of government, the current one, as well as past ones. And you have links to Wikipedia, WikiVoyage, and Wikimedia Commons. But this is all nice, right? What actually happened? So we removed 240 million language links from the Wikipedias. This is an enormous maintenance burden that has been taken off of all the editors on Wikipedia. We created 21 million statements. 84 million edits have been made on Wikidata itself. We currently have over 3,900 active users. This means people who made more than 5 edits in the last 30 days. And we have 600 really active editors, meaning they made more than 100 edits over the last 30 days. And this number is the one that I'm most proud of. We brought 5,000 new Wikimedians to Wikimedia, meaning these people first contributed to a Wikimedia project on Wikidata. So all in all, we brought Wikimedia a lot closer to its vision of a world in which every single human being can freely share and access the sum of all human knowledge. One example where you can nicely see this is, for example, this map. This is geocoordinates on Wikidata. So, for example, the item about Berlin has a geocoordinate where Berlin is, and it gets a dot on this map. This map already shows a lot more than any single Wikipedia has ever had, meaning now all 286 Wikipedias have access to all these geocoordinates, for example, and can use them in their articles. So what did we learn over the last year? I will also talk about some things that we already knew, but that are still interesting. The first thing, SMW is invaluable. Danny and all the other team members who have worked on SMW have learned a lot there, and a lot of that has found its way into Wikidata in some way, and that was really, really useful. Structured data is hard for people. It's a hard concept, it's hard to do. it's hard for people to wrap their head around this, but you probably all know this already in your day-to-day work. People mostly bought into our vision. They thought what we were doing is great and supported it. I will get to the mostly later again. Our community is really, really awesome. They have come up with tools and prototypes that we have not even thought of. I will show some of them later. But one thing, for example, that they've done is they are checking the data on the English Wikipedia against the data in Wikidata instead of just using it. So we have one large community that, in addition to the one on Wikidata itself, keeps an eye on the data in Wikidata. So when these changes between, or the data between the English Wikipedia and Wikidata does not match, it gets added to a maintenance category, and then someone can look at it and fix it. And they're extremely forgiving. Especially at the beginning, Wikidata was really rough. We started with close to no features and gradually rolled them out. Some of the features did not work as the community was expecting and so on. But they were extremely forgiving and working with us on getting to the point where we are now, and are still doing that. Rollouts matter. So on Wikidata, we started with only language links, so the links to Wikipedias. And this was a largely uncontroversial feature for the Wikipedia editors. This was something they have been waiting for a long time, because it was really a pain to maintain them on Wikipedia. This got us a lot of buy-in for future features that were more controversial, let's say like that. We also started rolling out on only a few small enthusiastic Wikipedias to work with them on a few issues that inevitably pop up, so as to, when we go to the larger Wikipedias who were a bit more wary about what we were doing, that they didn't get all the issues that we had. This was a really good decision to do that. Bootstrapping helps. We bootstrap Wikidata in at least two ways. One is language links from Wikipedia. This gave us a really large entity base already that people could later add data to. And the other thing is, of course, the community. We bootstrapped this basically with Wikipedia's community. And this gave us A, a huge community already, and B, a community that is able to do knowledge management, that are experienced in this, and a community that is used to collaborating on a large scale and knows how to do that. And again, I have seen visualizations are really, really useful. They're so helpful in explaining to people why we're doing this and why it's useful. And it helps to make sense of the huge amount of data that is in Wikidata and see where things are missing, where things are wrong, and so on. The world is really, really complex, and Wikipedians are extremely good at pointing out all the places where the world is complex, and Wikidata has to deal with this. So Wikidata from the beginning has been built with the idea in mind that there is not a single truth in this world, and that is okay. people don't have to come to one single truth about the number of inhabitants of Israel, for example, on Wikidata. It's completely okay to have several there. Now let's come to some challenges we faced. Understanding, as I already mentioned, especially at the beginning when the idea of Wikidata was still pretty vague and there was not much we could show, it was really hard to explain to people why we're doing this and actually what we're doing. This is getting better, but it's still hard. It's getting better now because we can just point people to an item and tell them, look, this is what Wikidata is. The next challenge, again, especially at the beginning, people had so many expectations of what Wikidata should be and what it should do. They were A, overly high, and B, a lot of times conflicting. Some people wanted Wikidata to be a pony, and the next person wanted it to be a cat. Can't have it all, right? But again, this is getting better now that people have more of an idea of what Wikidata is actually about and what we're trying to do. The third challenge we face is user experience, and which is one I want to tackle over the next month. We have developed Wikidata over the last 1.5 years, and with an amazing speed, which also means that every now and then the user experience was not given as much attention as it maybe should have. The fourth one, skepticism, worry, and fear. Wikipedians, as I already said, are, for example, really good at pointing you out all the places in the world that are really, really complex or that don't fit your usual idea of how things should work. So they were very, very skeptic if we're even able to pull off one place where we can store data about the world that is actually useful for Wikipedia. They didn't, at least at the beginning, I think, mostly didn't believe we could do that. I hope we proved them wrong right now. Yeah, and they were worried that once Wikidata is there, they will have to go to Wikidata and fight for the one single truth out there on Wikidata with all the other Wikipedia editions and the rest of the world. Which, of course, they would not want to do, but they don't have to. Which brings us to the next big challenge I want to tackle over the next month, is trust in our data. Especially at the beginning, a lot of the data in Wikidata was imported from Wikipedia info boxes by bots. And as every Wikipedian will tell you, Wikipedia is not a reliable source. So they were not too happy about that. And some even said, you basically have to start this all over again because you can't bring the current database to a level where it is trustworthy enough. But we are now seeing that people are adding a lot of sources for statements and so on. So we're getting there. And the last one, restrictions and getting lost in ontology design. Danny, from the beginning, was very set on the idea that Wikidata should not restrict people. So, for example, if you want to enter the sex of a person, then it should not give you two values that you have to choose from. But instead, you should be able to enter anything you want, and then other tools like bots should make maintenance reports, for example. Hey, these people have a sex set to goat. That's probably not true. Someone should look at this. And there was quite a lot of pushback on this, and by now, this is working really well. So people have bots and maintenance reports and so on, and they seem happy with this. But this was a real challenge to not get lost in this at the beginning. So what are we going to do next? Of course, more data types. People are waiting for them. So right now we have items, geocoordinate, time, comments, media, URL. I think that's all. So next will be numbers and numbers with units, monolingual and multilingual text, maybe geoshape. Queries, the one thing everyone is waiting for, I guess. We hopefully will have that in a simple version in the coming month. As I already said, user experience improvements need to happen. We need to build trust in our data, so there needs to happen quite a few things also on the software side to help people maintain the data that we have now. I hope people, maybe you, will make a lot more visualizations of the data that we have in Wikidata. We want to grow the ecosystem around Wikidata, of course. So this is both people building tools on top of Wikidata as well as third-party users of the actual wiki-based software. So if anyone wants to, they can just like SMW, set up their own instance. But now enough talking, and let's get to some demos. So, this is Wikidata today with the birthday logo. And this is the item on Tim Berners-Lee, some basic information about him, who his employers are, some identifiers in other databases, his Twitter account, date of birth, which awards he received, and a lot more. Now, this is all in English, right? And Wikipedia is available in 286 languages by now. So English alone doesn't cut it. So we have the same data about Tim Berners-Lee, for example, also in Russian. So this is really the same data you saw before. If anyone speaks Russian, this one is missing a label. Yuri, please, get on it. There's a few more, so Russian is relatively okay in coverage, but there's still things missing that people can add. Okay, and the same thing in Spanish. Spanish, by the way, is better in terms of coverage, because it's simply among the larger languages in Wikimedia. Right. So this was a person, and as you can see, this wasn't very much visually made to represent a person nicely, because once you know that this is a person, you can do a lot more things. And this is exactly what Magnus did in this tool called Reasonator. So this is basically data from Wikidata about a person, Ada Lovelace in this case, displayed in a nicer way, with her photo, all the identifiers Wikidata knows about, all the Wikipedia articles, her family, and so on. But while we were talking about families, there's a lot of family information in Wikidata. So someone went along and made this family tree of Beatrix of the Netherlands. And it is quite huge. So let's zoom in here. Quite impressive, right? Or this is one that Danny did. Unfortunately not updated currently, but this is a tree of life based on taxonomy data in Wikidata. So you can go through the tree of life here and then get the Wikipedia article for each of them. This is another thing that Arun did, who also did the Wikidata logo, by the way. This is a map of India. You can see the districts or the states of India with their English name. And if I now switch this to Russian, for example, it will change the names based on data in Wikidata to their Russian names. This works with all the languages that Wikidata knows about there. Just a prototype at the moment, but they are trying to bring this to production level. This is another thing Danny did. It's a map interface for the things that are in Wikidata and have a geocoordinate. And what you see here is the U-Bahn network of Berlin. So we are probably somewhere there. I unfortunately can't really zoom out right now here, but it has other data as well. For example, here you can see the borders width property displayed for Italy. Also, again, from data in Wikidata. This is another tool Magnus did that will display time and geo information from Wikidata together. This is about the American Civil War. So you can scroll through the individual battles of the American Civil War and have the map for that here. And you can use the same tool also for other things. For example, this is a cemetery in Paris. And you can see all the famous people. Hello, internet, please load. That were buried on this cemetery, and again have a timeline up there with pictures of their tombstones and so on, all based on data in Wikidata. And now my last demo. I hope this will work. Let's see. Where was Charles Darwin born? I have no idea. Yes. Very great. Let's try this with typing.
Lydia, you should talk to your computer, not the microphone.
Yeah, I probably should, but we should have a private conversation later.
Naturalist, author of On the Origin of Species, by Means of Natural Selection. Charles Darwin was born in Vermont, Shrewsbury.
I'm not going to try the second one by speaking. Let's also do this by typing. Should I try the second one too, just for giggles? Okay. Who is the father of Luke Skywalker? father of Luke Skywalker?
I assume you mean the character in Star Wars. The father of Luke Skywalker is Anakin Skywalker.
All right. If you want to know anything more about Wikidata, I will be here today and tomorrow. The website, our Twitter handle, there's a Facebook page. We have an IRC channel, a mailing list, and you can also reach me personally by email. Thank you very much.
Anyway, any questions? So for Wikidata.
As Wikidata is open source itself, the question arises, when would you use Semantic MediaWiki and when would you use Wikidata? Can you say something about that, maybe, from your point of view?
That really depends on your use case. So Wikidata is made to be one central repository that you can access from different other wikis, for example. And it is made to be multilingual. And it is made to be a secondary database. So it's supposed to be the place where you store information and then say, I got this from there. As opposed to how Semantic MediaWiki is mostly built. It's not multilingual. You store the data in one wiki. And the data you have there is the truth. Yeah, that's how it is. And depending on what your use cases there are, that's what you should be using. Does that answer your question? Cool.
Yeah, I have a question about the software behind Wikidata. Do you consider any use of Wikibase, not in Wikimedia servers, but for enterprise, for companies, for this kind of usage?
We're very much looking forward to kind of an ecosystem of Wikibase installations. That's the software behind Wikidata. Developing. What kind of things it will be used for? There are so many options. So research data could be stored in it, or a company. Though in a lot of cases they are probably better served by Semantic MediaWiki than Wikidata. Yeah, there are many options, and I'm looking forward to see them happening probably over the next year. More questions? Yeah.
Could you explain again about how people solve the conflict in ontologies or vocabularies?
That's a very broad question. So how this works on Wikidata is that there's a property creation process, and there are special people, or there are people who have special rights who can create properties now. And what people do is basically there's a page where you can propose new properties, explain what it will be used for, why it is useful, and then you gather support.